City of Estevan, Contractor Management. Welcome to our safety orientation for contractors, ensuring a safe and productive work environment. This orientation is required for all short-term and long-term service providers of the City of Estevan. Safety is an attitude that must be instilled in workers through the behaviors at all levels of management and on-site supervisors. A cooperative effort between the City of Estevan and its contractors promotes safe work attitudes and behaviors. This results in a safer workplace. Effectively managing the safety, health, and environmental performance of our contract workforce is an ethical and legal obligation. It also makes good business sense. Reducing loss and increasing production are both aspects of good business. Superior safety, health, and environmental performance increases efficiencies, heightens morale, and lowers costs. At the City of Estevan, we believe that every injury is preventable. All spills are preventable. Safety and environmental protection are everyone's responsibility. Improving safety and environmental protection requires management commitment and involvement. The safety of contractors is as important as the safety of the City of Estevan employees. Working safely is a condition of employment. Preventing injuries and protecting the environment is good business. The objective of continuously improving contractor safety, health, and environmental performance is consistent with the City of Estevan values. These include integrity, people, business relationships, progress, safety, health, and environmental performance. Understanding safety protocols. Familiarize yourself with our established safety protocols. They are designed to protect you and your colleagues. There may be specific requirements for your project or task that are needed above the basic requirements here at the City. The City of Estevan will strive to ensure all contractors are aware of the safety rules that must be followed to maintain a safe workplace. Contractors shall comply with the City of Estevan standards and legislated requirements. Cooperate with the City of Estevan and other contractors to maintain a safe workplace. Ensure safe work practices are followed. Report all incidents. Contractor expectations. The City of Estevan's contractor health, safety, and environmental expectations clearly establish the importance that the City of Estevan places on health, safety, and the environment, as well as the effective management of contractors. Contractors are responsible for developing their own basic safety program. Contractors must report incidents, injuries, property damage, and regulatory inspections to the City of Estevan representative. Contractors must ensure their workers have the required safety training and equipment. Contractors are evaluated on their health, safety, and environmental performance. This evaluation is used as one of the criteria for selecting contractors in the future. Contractors must have valid Workers' Compensation Board insurance. They must have general omissions and liability insurance. Contractors are to receive an orientation and ensure that their employees are oriented to the site. Site-specific orientations are required for all service provider employees and must cover the specific hazards, conditions, equipment, procedures, rules, and regulations where the work occurs. Determine their responsibility in relation to the health and safety of all workers affected by their activities. Are responsible for their subcontractors and shall ensure that they comply. The contractor shall act as prime contractor when appointed by the City of Estevan. Cooperate with the City of Estevan or other contractors and the Occupational Health Committee or representative in protecting the health and safety of everyone in the workplace. Conduct their work in a way that does not endanger anyone's health and safety. Know and follow all applicable parts of the Contractor's Safety Manual. Know and follow the Saskatchewan Employment Act and Occupational Health and Safety Regulations. Prime Contractor. If the service provider is appointed as the prime contractor, then the agreement is to be in writing and the service provider must comply as the prime contractor according to the Occupational Health and Safety Regulations. The service provider must ensure that there are adequate and appropriate policies, procedures, practices, and safety equipment. They must ensure competent and properly informed workers and supervisors. They must ensure compliance with the Saskatchewan Employment Act and Occupational Health and Safety Regulations. They must ensure that activities do not put others' health and safety at risk. Service provider must be compliant and are responsible for ensuring proper policies are in place and actively ensure compliance, as far as reasonably possible. Prime contractors are responsible to submit a written plan identifying the following: how they will ensure that duties are compliant, who will oversee the plan, who various employer supervisors are and their contact information, responsibilities of all parties, all those under must cooperate and comply, visitors, all visitors present at a work site must receive an orientation, abide by all safety regulations and policies, wear personal protective equipment, PPE, as required, do not go into unauthorized areas. Service Provider Agreement. Whereas the City of Estevan desires to hire only safety-conscious and reliable companies with a firm commitment to employ competent persons, supervisors and workers to perform work for the City of Estevan in compliance with good industry practices and applicable legislation. And the City of Estevan requires close coordination of all parties performing work for the City of Estevan to reduce the likelihood of loss to all workers, equipment, and plant facilities. The City of Estevan will appoint a contract administrator for all contractual agreements with service providers. Let's review some key features of the Service Provider Agreement. 1. Compliance with legislation. The service provider shall perform all work undertaken for the City of Estevan in compliance with all laws, regulations, standards, and the City of Estevan requirements. 2. Orientation. The service provider shall ensure that all their employees receive site orientation and the service provider's area and job-specific orientation prior to commencing work on the site. 3. Competent supervisors and workers. The service provider shall ensure that it only utilizes qualified and competent supervisors and workers on any work performed for the City of Estevan. Competent worker includes a worker who is being trained to perform a particular task or duty and who is under close and competent supervision during that training. The service provider agrees to keep on file and provide documentation to the City of Estevan, upon request, records of training pertaining to supervisory duties, trade tickets or certification, job-specific training, WHMAS, TDG, orientations, etc. occurring before and during a project which might pertain to completing the City of Estevan work in a healthy and safe manner. 4. Housekeeping. The service provider agrees to keep its work areas reasonably clean at all times and to prevent the accumulation of waste materials and rubbish. The service provider agrees to perform a thorough cleanup at the completion of the work and remove all equipment, surplus materials, and tools for the site. If this is not done in a timely and acceptable fashion, the City of Estevan reserves the right to remove such rubbish and other items and backcharge the cost of same to the service provider. 5. Inspection of equipment. The service provider agrees to inspect all tools and equipment brought onto the site and provide documented proof of same to the City of Estevan upon request. Copies of certification for specialized equipment, egg, cranes, man baskets, etc., shall be provided to the City of Estevan before such equipment is brought onto the site. 6. Tools and equipment. The service provider agrees to provide the City of Estevan a list of all tools and equipment it intends to bring on site to perform the work. The City of Estevan reserves the right to inspect any and all such tools and equipment and to refuse entry onto the site should the City of Estevan find any such items inappropriate to perform the work adequately and safely. This in no way alleviates the service provider's responsibilities with regards to its own tools and equipment. Hazard assessment. The service provider agrees to conduct a thorough hazard assessment of the work and submit same to the City of Estevan, no later than 7 days prior to commencing work. The City of Estevan reserves the right to insist on upgrading hazard control measures and or altering procedures to reduce the potential for injury or loss. The service provider also agrees to conduct and document smaller hazard assessments during a project prior to starting any hazardous tasks. Be proactive in identifying potential hazards. It's your responsibility to report unsafe conditions. Daily site field level hazard/risk assessments are required for all tasks and must be updated throughout the day or as conditions change. If you are not familiar with this process, you may use our field level hazard assessment process. Be prepared to show your FLHA to the contract manager/representative during any inspection or at regular intervals during your project. You will be responsible for keeping these records. Contractor Safety Program. The service provider agrees to adhere to its safety program. Reporting requirements. The service provider agrees to provide copies to the City of Estevan, as soon as is reasonably possible, on all required reporting mandated by legislation: a dangerous occurrence, high-risk asbestos work, trench deeper than 5 meters, hospitalization of injured workers for over 72 hours, etc. Worksite inspections. The service provider agrees to conduct weekly inspections of their work areas and submit written reports to the City of Estevan. Incident investigations. The service provider agrees to investigate all first aids, medical aids, lost times, and near misses and submit written investigation reports to the City of Estevan within 24 hours of the occurrence. All lost time injuries and dangerous occurrences shall be reported immediately to the City of Estevan on a verbal basis prior to submission of a written report. Toolbox safety meetings. The service provider agrees to conduct weekly toolbox safety meetings. Personal protective equipment. The service provider agrees to supply and have available at the worksite all basic and specialized personal protective equipment that may be required to safely perform the work. The service provider shall ensure that all workers required to use personal protective equipment are trained in its care, use, maintenance, and limitations. Wearing PPE is mandatory. For all field, construction, and maintenance tasks, mandatory PPE include CSA-approved hard hat, CSA-approved safety glasses, high visibility vest, Class 2 Level 2, CSA-approved steel-toed boot, gloves where applicable. Critical work. The service provider agrees to utilize and follow all applicable permit systems when performing hazardous critical tasks: excavating, confined space entry, hot work, work near high voltage lines, pressure testing, critical lifts, etc. Controlled products. The service provider agrees to transport, handle, and store all controlled products properly and have all applicable safety date sheets on site for all controlled products used on site. Records and statistics. The service provider agrees to compile and submit to the City of Estevan monthly statistical reports of all incidents, including lost time injury frequencies and severity rates. Workers' Compensation Board information. If so requested by the City of Estevan, the service provider agrees to submit a copy of their Workers' Compensation Board Statement of Injury Costs Supplement for the current and previous 2 years. Audits. The service provider agrees to succumb to periodic safety audits conducted by the City of Estevan. In so doing, the service provider shall make all of its safety documentation records available for review, along with making available for short interviews the required number of supervisors and workers. The service provider agrees to proactively work to continuously improve its safety program per the recommendations of the City of Estevan auditors. Subcontractors. The service provider shall make all subcontractors aware of the provisions of this agreement and ensure that all their subcontractors and agents abide by the provisions herein. Stopping work. The City of Estevan reserves the right to stop the performance of any City of Estevan work at any time that it feels, in its sole opinion, that the work or the manner in which work is performed is creating unacceptable risk to any parties on the worksite. The City of Estevan also reserves the right to terminate any contract with any service provider for poor safety performance or failure to adhere to any of the provisions of this agreement. The City of Estevan shall not be liable for any loss, financial or otherwise, incurred by the service provider as a result of such work stoppages or termination of contract. In the event of such a termination of contract, the City of Estevan shall settle its account with the service provider for work performed up to and including the date of termination, and reserves the right to let the remainder of the contract to another suitable party. Enforcement policy. The service provider agrees to adhere to their enforcement and disciplinary policies as outlined in their safety program. The City of Estevan reserves the right to have any of the service provider's employees or agents removed from any worksite for blatant disregard of site rules or safety requirements. First aid. The service provider agrees to ensure that all of its employees and agents immediately report all first aids and other injuries. First aid records will be maintained by the service provider for the duration of the project and kept on file for a period of at least 5 years following completion of the project. Additional terms. The service provider agrees to adhere to any additional safety requirements stipulated by the City of Estevan, which may arise due to unforeseeable circumstances, which might result in unacceptable risk to workers, equipment, or facilities, egg fires, act of God, extreme inclement weather conditions, etc. The service provider acknowledges and agrees to abide by the terms and conditions of this agreement. Contractor Monitor Policy. The City of Estevan will monitor the safety performance of contractors and their subcontractors during a project. Inspections will be conducted by City of Estevan representatives to identify problems such as poor housekeeping, non-compliance to legislative requirements, site rules, or safe job procedures. Depending on the work being undertaken and type of contractor, the City of Estevan has various monitor checklists that they will utilize. A typical checklist and inspection may review: signed service provider agreement, compliance to the Act and regulations, health and safety reporting structure, personal protective equipment, lay-down area, site plan, fuel storage, safety talks and meetings, field level risk assessments, site security and signage, traffic control, housekeeping, emergency response and first aid, chemical storage, training, inspections by service provider and follow-up of corrective actions. Other items that may be reviewed depending on the contractor and the work include specific hazards and controls of the work and work site, specific personal protective equipment and training, tools and equipment, sanitary requirements, occupational health committee minutes, alcohol and drug policy, harassment and violence policy, floor openings and fall protection. Please note, to ensure due diligence, proper documentation would be required by the service provider to verify any of these requirements. Health and wellness. Your physical and mental health are crucial for your safety. Don't hesitate to seek help if you need it. Regular breaks and staying hydrated are essential. They help maintain focus and awareness on the job. Promote wellness within your team. A healthy worker is a productive and safe worker. Let's support each other in maintaining our overall well-being. Cultural sensitivity and inclusion. Respecting cultural differences among team members fosters a positive work environment. Inclusivity leads to improved communication and teamwork, ensuring safety for all. Be mindful of language barriers. Patience and understanding can enhance communication. Celebrate diversity. It strengthens our team and enhances our safety culture. Workplace responsibility. Every contractor and employee plays a vital role in maintaining a safe work environment. Your actions matter. Be an advocate for safety. Encourage your peers to adhere to protocols and best practices. Remember, safety is everyone's responsibility. Report unsafe behavior promptly. Your initiative can inspire others to prioritize safety on site. Worker rights. Each worker must know their health and safety rights. Every worker has 3 rights. The right to refuse work that they believe is unusually dangerous, the right to know, and the right to participate. Duties. The Saskatchewan Employment Act has placed responsibilities and duties on owners, contractors, and employers. The City of Estevan takes their duties very seriously and will strive to comply in all circumstances, ensuring their due diligence. Further to the Saskatchewan Employment Act and the Occupational Health and Safety Regulations, workers have certain responsibilities. Worker duties. Workers on site have the following responsibilities: assisting their employers in the identification of hazards and implementation of hazard controls, following safe work procedures, performing their work to the level to which they have been trained and certified, wear all personal protective equipment designated as required by the nature of the work, refrain from causing or participating in harassment or violence, reporting all incidents or concerns, and to cooperate with their employer, striving to eliminate or minimize all risks found in the workplace. Feedback and improvement. Constructive feedback on safety practices is essential for growth. Do not hold back your suggestions. Engage in safety meetings and provide your insights to improve our procedures. Recognize and reward safe behavior within the team to encourage a culture of safety. Let's work together to continuously improve our contractor safety performance. Assessment and thank you. Thank you for participating in this contractor safety orientation. Your commitment to safety will lead us to success. Remember, a safe workplace is a productive workplace. We are all in this together. Feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns that you may have regarding safety protocols. Please let your supervisor know. Let's make every day a safe and productive one. Now let's take a short quiz to ensure that we understood the contractor orientation. If after taking the quiz you have any questions, please take them up with our representative or your supervisor. On behalf of the City of Estevan, thank you and stay safe and healthy.